Hey everyone, ready for some seriously cool, trending tidbits about anandamide?
Always ready for anandamide.
We're diving deep today.
Dipper than usual.
Deeper into the endocannabinoid system.
Ah, the ECS.
It's this incredible network in our bodies, helps regulate everything.
Everything.
Well, almost. Mood, inflammation, pain, appetite, you name it.
It really is remarkable, how much we're still learning about it, like this hidden universe right inside us.
And always working, keeping things in balance.
Constantly.
And we're focusing today on anandamide.
Often called the bliss molecule.
And for good reason. It interacts with the same receptors as THC.
Yeah, from cannabis.
Exactly. But get this, you don't need to partake to experience the effects.
Nope. What we eat can directly influence those anandamide levels.
I was reading this article, Anandamide, the bliss molecule,
Catchy title.
and it mentioned that the word anandamide comes from the Sanskrit word for internal bliss.
Makes sense, right?
Totally. I mean, considering the role anandamide plays in those good vibes.
Like that runner's high, that euphoric feeling, that's anandamide, at least in part.
Okay, so how do we get more of that internal bliss flowing? Can we, hack our way to happiness through food?
Well, some foods have a little anandamide directly,
Okay.
but the real trick is inhibiting the enzyme that breaks it down.
Oh, clear.
It's called FAAH. Block that, keep the anandamide around longer.
Now, the article I mentioned, it talked about chocolate.
Ah!
Does that mean indulging in a chocolate bar is actually good for you?
Well, chocolate does have a tiny bit of anandamide itself,
Uh-huh.
but the real benefit is its ability to inhibit FAAH.
So enjoying some chocolate, in moderation of course, could actually boost your well-being.
That's the idea.
So chocolate's a good start, but there must be other ways to boost anandamide, right? Anything else we can add to our diet? And are there any downsides to, messing with FAAH?
There are other natural compounds that can inhibit FAAH.
Yeah.
One example is biochanin A, found in red clover.
Red clover.
Interesting. There was this study, biochanin a naturally occurring inhibitor of fatty acid amide hydrolase, and it showed promising results in animal models, especially with pain relief.
So we're talking about naturally boosting our bliss molecule, maybe even managing pain. Sign me up.
Hey.
But you mentioned downsides.
Right, inhibiting FAAH sounds great, but we need more research, to really understand the long-term effects.
Makes sense.
Some studies show benefits for anxiety, maybe even addiction, but there could be unintended consequences too, especially with chronic use.
It's always a balancing act, isn't it?
Always.
Oh, this reminds me of another study. Different routes to inhibit fatty acid might inhibit hydrolase. Do all roads lead to the same place?
Ah, yes, that one explores different ways to administer those FAAH inhibitors,
Yeah.
different ways to deliver them,
Exactly.
like intranasal.
Through the nose.
Yep, like a nasal spray, intraperitoneal.
That sounds a bit more intense.
It is an injection.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's oral.
Good old-fashioned pills.
Each method has its pros and cons, and research is ongoing, trying to figure out which is the most effective and safest.
So, no clear winner yet.
Not really. It seems to depend on the specific drug, where you need it to go, and the individual's needs.
Makes sense. It's all very nuanced, isn't it? This whole
Yeah.
endocannabinoid system.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes the research so exciting.
We're just scratching the surface, really.
Exactly. And one particularly interesting finding from that study,
Yeah.
intranasal delivery of a specific FAAH inhibitor, URB597,
Okay.
it increased anandamide in the brain specifically,
Hmm.
without a similar effect on the liver.
So, more targeted.
Potentially, yes. Fewer systemic side effects, maybe.
Fascinating.
It suggests real potential for treating neurological conditions.
So many possibilities.
Mm.
Before we get into all that, though, let's take a moment. For our listeners, what are the key takeaways here? What do they really need to remember from this part of our conversation?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. We all have this endocannabinoid system, working tirelessly to keep us balanced.
Keeping our bodies and minds in check.
Exactly. And anandamide, this bliss molecule, is a major player
And we can influence its levels.
through our diet and lifestyle choices.
Simple things, like enjoying some dark chocolate,
Or incorporating red clover into your diet.
could actually make a difference. It's empowering, isn't it?
It is.
Knowing we have some control over these processes.
Absolutely.
But more research is needed, right?
Always. We need to understand the long-term implications.
So excitement, yes, but with a healthy dose of caution, too.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to move on to those different delivery methods.
Sounds good.
In the next part, we'll delve deeper into that study, explore how targeting specific areas, like the brain, could lead to more focused treatments, fewer side effects. Stay tuned for more trending tidbits about anandamide.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready to explore those different delivery methods?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really curious about this. I mean, how do we get those compounds where they need to go?
That's the question, isn't it? And that study, Different Routes to Inhibit Fatty Acid Amide Hydrolase, it really digs into that.
It does.
3 methods: intranasal, intraperitoneal, and oral.
Okay. Not exactly everyday terms.
Right. But what they found, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
I guess that makes sense. Different methods for different situations. So intranasal, that's like through the nose, right?
Exactly, like a nasal spray.
Interesting.
It's getting a lot of attention because it's a direct route to the brain.
Ah, so it bypasses the blood-brain barrier,
You got it.
which could be tricky for some substances to cross.
Exactly.
So in theory, bypassing that barrier means fewer side effects elsewhere, right?
That's the idea.
Because it's more targeted.
Targeted and potentially more effective.
And this study, did it back that up?
It did. They used URB597, a type of FAAH inhibitor, and found intranasal delivery increased anandamide specifically in the brain,
Oh,
but not in the liver.
interesting. So it really was targeted. Okay, what about intraperitoneal? What's that all about?
That's an injection directly into the abdominal cavity.
Okay, that sounds a bit more invasive.
It is, but commonly used in animal studies.
I can see why.
Quick absorption into the bloodstream.
So, faster acting, but maybe not as precise when it comes to targeting.
You got it. And then, of course, we have oral delivery.
The old-fashioned way, swallow a pill.
Exactly.
So what did they find about oral delivery?
Well, interestingly, it wasn't as successful at raising anandamide levels in the brain.
Why not?
Could be because of metabolism in the liver before it reaches the brain.
Ah, I see. So no clear winner then. Each method has its own pluses and minuses.
It seems that way. Depends on the drug, where you need it to go, the individual's needs.
Makes sense. It's a complex system, this ECS. Are there ever times when you actually want to decrease anandamide?
That's a great question. And it shows just how complex this system is.
Right.
Anandamide, it's linked to good things, but too much of a good thing.
Could be a bad thing.
Right. Balance is key.
Can you give me an example of when too much anandamide might not be good?
Sure. Some research suggests that if anandamide levels are consistently high, it could be a factor in memory impairment.
Oh, wow. Really?
And there's even some evidence linking high anandamide to an increased risk of miscarriage early in pregnancy.
That's definitely something to consider.
It really highlights the need for more research. This whole system is so intricate.
We've got to understand the nuances.
Exactly.
And that's what makes this research on FAAH inhibitors so exciting, right?
It is.
We're getting new tools to fine-tune this delicate system.
And the more we learn about delivery methods, the closer we get to personalized treatments.
That's amazing. Imagine personalizing treatment based on your own endocannabinoid system.
And targeting specific areas, like the brain.
We could manage so many conditions. Chronic pain, anxiety, even addiction.
The possibilities are vast. But, and this is important, we need further research.
Right, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
We have to understand the long-term effects, the safety of these inhibitors, especially with continued use.
Safety first.
Absolutely. And individual responses can differ.
Ah, so what works for one person might not work for another.
That's right. It's not a magic bullet.
No magic bullets, but it is a fascinating area of research. So much potential.
Immense potential.
This has been great. It's amazing how much is going on inside our bodies that we're only beginning to grasp.
Isn't it?
The endocannabinoid system is a perfect example of that. We're really just scratching the surface.
Absolutely. And think of the potential benefits of really harnessing its power.
Wow. Okay, well, in our final part, we're going to step back a bit, look at the bigger picture. Could personalized medicine, based on these FAAH inhibitors, be the future of healthcare? We'll delve into those possibilities next.
Welcome back. Final segment on anandamide. What a journey, huh?
It has been. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. Runner's high, FAAH inhibitors, different delivery methods, all fascinating stuff.
And now we're going to look at the big picture. Exactly. Personalized medicine.
Yeah.
Based on FAAH inhibitors. Could this really be the future of healthcare? It sounds futuristic.
It does, a bit like sci-fi. But researchers are looking into it seriously.
Really? So what are we talking about? What would that look like?
Imagine treatments tailored to your own endocannabinoid system.
No more one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. Personalized anandamide boosts. Or even, targeted interventions to address imbalances.
Wow. And we talk about the potential benefits for pain, anxiety, even addiction. But this could go even further, right?
Absolutely. As research continues, who knows what other possibilities might emerge?
It's exciting to think about. But let's not get carried away.
Good point.
We talked about those important considerations.
Really did.
More research is needed, long-term effects,
Yeah.
and the ECS, it's complex.
It is a complex network we can't oversimplify.
Exactly. So personalized medicine, it's promising, but not a quick fix.
Right. We need rigorous research to really unravel the complexities of the ECS
And figure out how to influence it safely, effectively.
for lasting positive outcomes.
Okay, so a final thought here for our listeners. If research keeps uncovering these intricate workings, the endocannabinoid system and its connection to addiction, could we see personalized treatments for cravings, dependencies?
That's an interesting question.
Could we help people break free from unhealthy habits? Something to think about. And for those who want to explore more, we've got resources in the show notes.
Lots of fascinating information out there.
Until next time, keep exploring.